All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Lady Nika, and with another episode review for Queen Sugar. This is last night's episode. I've already uploaded and have currently on the channel Queen Sugar from last week. I also did a live stream about an hour and a half ago. If you have not had an opportunity to check that out, please go back and watch that. For my review people, please check out my review from last week that's up on the channel now. And let's get into this week's episode, which is season 5, episode 7, June the 1st, 2020. Now, Brew is a little genius. Something we pretty much knew he was, child. You can tell. But Darla had him take this little aptitude test, and the results are in. It basically says that he's a little mini genius. And they're not surprised, but they are extremely happy. Charlie is dreaming of all that has happened since this virus wrecked the country. She wakes up and you can tell something ain't right about Charlie. She's got this ache in her neck. She says later that she thinks she slept wrong, but she just not right. And I was at that point. I was like, oh my Lord, not her, not the COVID child. But we gonna see. Now, Vi is calling to check on folks. Hollywood said folks ought to check on her sometimes. She said she said love ain't no tit for tat. He said it should be sometimes. Now, Hollywood is been in a funk. Now, I don't know if it's a accumulation of losing his mother, this pandemic, and now this situation involving George Floyd. But child, he's having beer for breakfast. Now, Nova is getting T-shirts together for a protest, for a march that she's gonna have with some kids. She made sure she got blue, his favorite color, which is blue. She talks about how much she loves him. Her and her assistant was discussing being safe. Is this march going to be safe because it's kids involved? She said you never can be too sure, but she's hopeful. They discussed Trump currently being in the White House, and she stated that his values will still remain even when he's out of office. So hopefully one day they will be able to reach total equality among the races. I told y'all Charlie wasn't feeling well. Well, she says she thinks she slept the wrong way. It's no big. Then her and Michael discussed the protest and how good it was for him to see his mother there to support him. But now he wants to go to Minneapolis. He wants to go to the site of where this man lost his life. Charlie was worried instantly, but he told her, I'm really asking for your support, not your permission. And she got it. She gave her permission for him to go and told him to be careful. Charlie and Nova talk about Michael progress and how things aren't so simple. She says she will never come visit. She will come visit her after the march, and taking Courtney back to school. She's gonna fly back in order to see how TSA is handling Black people in light of all these new restrictions. They discuss how much Micah is not too young to be advocating as he does. And I noticed that she still wasn't feeling well in this episode so far, and I was just really concerned about Charlie. Now, Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue are making posters for the march. They had to explain that it was George Floyd who was, cause one of them was like, had I guess the I can't breathe, and him calling out for his mom, and they had to explain to him that George Floyd was calling out for his mother in his final moments when he was scared, kind of like how he calls out and runs to his parents when he's afraid. Darla explained that the march uh, is an effort to make sure that what happened to George Floyd never happens again. And he really got it. She was breaking because it's sad to have to introduce this much of reality to a 10-year-old, but it is the reality that we live in. Courtney was packing and preparing when Nova to return to Texas when Nova gifted her a rare copy of her what she had been working on about George Floyd. She got a call, something about a permit, and she left to take the call. And come to find out, the permit didn't go through, so the march has to be canceled. Blue was disappointed the march was canceled and said that it's dumb that they need permission to walk down the street. He wanted an opportunity to tell how he felt. Ralph Angel agreed it was dumb. So he suggested that he and Darling Blue take their signs out to let folks know how they really feel. They gonna protest anyway. That made me and Darla a little nervous, but we shall see and trust it was the reason why I got nervous because I knew exactly what was going to happen, and we'll get to it. Now, bye bring Charlie some eats over, and she asked where was Micah, and Charlie said he went to Minneapolis to meet with some friends to protest. Now, if I was afraid, and she explained, uh, Charlie had to explain to her, didn't you tell me that he was going to be growing up and he would be different because he's getting into his maturity? Well, this is the mature Michael. Micah is a freedom fighter in a way. You know, he's an advocate. He's a protester. He's an activist. He's doing what it is that he has to do, what he feels like he needs to do. Vi said Hollywood is in a bad place over the loss of his mother. Copper with everything that's going on. She said Prosper better, but his daughter ain't even picked up the phone to call him not one time, and that's a shame. She said family got to start keeping close with one another. And that's something I preach in my family all the time. Me and my kids, I tell them that my sister and brother, you know, we close, but we ain't close. Me and my family really is me and my children and their children. And I preach every day the importance of keeping family together. I'm old school in how I believe. I believe a family that prays together stays together. And right now, I'm the glue that's keeping us all together. But soon, there will be a time where I will expect to see my children keeping that going as I age. And I hope that they continue it after I'm no longer here on this side of glory. I want them to understand the value of family. Yes, we fight together. Sometimes we don't like each other. But when the chips are down and your back is against the wind, I would like to think I instilled in them the value of having family to help you in your darkest hour. So that's what she was saying. Now, Courtney and Nova talk in the car as they wait on Calvin to come out. She apologized for the march being canceled and said, well, maybe it's for the best. Maybe they should not be subjected to such negativity since they're so young. And Nova's thought about it. She said, maybe, but you can still see she's disappointed. Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue stand on the side of their property, on their land, holding up their signs as yelling no justice, no peace as cars pass by, honking in support. And then, just as I feared, here comes a police officer. He said he got a call about somebody obstructing justice, and Ralph Angel said, well, that ain't us. The cop tried to say that he was doing it, he was protesting on private property, and he said, but I own the land. The cop wanted to see proof that he owned the property. He asked him for proof, and he said it's back at the house. No one walks around with their deed in their back pocket. So then he asked for Ralph Angel's ID. He said it's back at the house. The cop said, oh, the house that you own, right? Like you own this land. Basically saying the man, he didn't believe him. Ralph Angel asked why was his word not good enough, and the cop said because he said so. So then Darla ran to the truck to go back to the house to get the ID to keep the situation from escalating. Meanwhile, Blue is watching all this. The cop smiled at Darla, smiled because Darla ran to go get the ID. The cop then began to speak to Blue. Blue was not receptive. In fact, he was scared. Ralph Angel asked, didn't the cop have something better to do? And he said, yes, he doesn't want to be out here dealing with them people. Then he caught himself and then he said, because Ralph Angel said, them people. He had to change that up and say them BLM people, meaning them Black Lives Matter people. But he said that Ralph Angel had a mouth on him because he questioned him. Now, the whole time, he got his hand on the side of his holster where his gun is. And Blue is afraid that the cop is going to hurt his father. The cop got a call, and luckily, he left. He told Ralph Angel it was his lucky day, and he told Ralph Angel that he'll catch him later. And he left. Blue was upset visibly and tried to go along with his dad, who wanted to continue to protest, but he was shook because he saw what happened and he understood what. Remember, this is a little genius we talking about. Don't underestimate children because you never know. You just never really know. Okay, that cop was clearly racist. Courtney wants to be a good ally. She's struggling with herself. She said that she's trying to be a good ally, but she don't know how because the questions keep coming. And Nova told her, as long as your questions just keep coming, that means that you're in the process of being a good ally and a good person. Never stop asking the questions. Now Hollywood and Prosper was watching an old game. uh Ain't no new ones due to this pandemic being happening. All the games were canceled, and Vi came in asking what they wanted for dinner. Neither one of them had any specific orders or anything, so they said whatever. Then she began to talk about she had a conversation with Darla, and she just not feeling the fact that Darla is allowing Blue to watch TV, to see all that destruction that's happening in Minneapolis in the wake of the killing of George Floyd. She don't like him overhearing grown folk talk. And Hollywood said, "What did she tell you? Did she tell you that she to mind your business?" And Vi said basically, she didn't say it like that, but in a way, yeah, that's what she said. Now Prosper knew that what was about to happen because he gave her and baby, when you give a black woman you might as well get ready to have a conversation because she want to have one with you. She want to know what the hell you talking about. What that means something in the black community. I don't know what it means in the white community, but is always a segue into something else. Prosper realized that and got his shit and got up and left. Excused himself real quick so they can talk. So Hollywood told her basically, if you want me to make you feel better and say how big your heart is, I can't right now. I just want to watch this idiot boss and mind my own business as you should do. She said that don't sound like him. He said, well, it is him today. He got property lease that he can't use. He still has to pay on it each month, which is eating into his settlement money. The world is gone crazy. He wants to watch a game that he already didn't watch before to see the outcome that he already know, while his beautiful wife, who happens to be a tremendous cook, just bring him something to eat. That's all he want. He don't feel like all the hustle and bustle, and he don't want to do a whole lot of talking. His spirit is shook. And I think she needs to understand that this man is coping with the death of his mother. And I think she did. The death of his mother, this virus, now George Floyd. He just want to be left alone and just enjoy life for what it is right now. See, the thing about you have to understand with most men, especially black men, they not vocal. Black men is not vocal. When they upset about something, the best thing to do is let them process that their way. They don't want you nagging and grinding. I had to learn that with my own sons. I can't just clown all the time. I can't force them to tell me how they feel. A man internalizes things totally different. And then he's a black man in America today that just sat and watched the idiot box, aka TV, where he saw another black man plead and basically take his last breath on camera in front of the world in front of the world for the world to see. So he having a hard time internalizing all of that. Charlie on the phone talking about Micah helped her find the only copy that still exists of the old St. Josephine Charter. And it says that all public work construction can be paused for an emergency up to 2 years. It hasn't been overturned by any courts, or so no highways or prisons or nothing can be done. So the Landrys and the Boudreaux and the Parker Campbells of the world have been stalled for quite some time, and that's a plus. She then started hurting and having shortness of breath, so she got the phone with who she was talking to. She started to call Nova, but remember she was out of town. Vi had just told her that, she had a lot on her plate, and Ralph Angel didn't answer. I said right then and there, she got that COVID. Ralph Angel in Hollywood talked on the phone about the incident with the cop, and Ralph Angel said Blue hanging in there, but he was scared for him. Ralph Angel not feeling it because he said it's his job to worry about his son, but in that moment he saw his son being worried about him. He's the kid and shouldn't have to deal with that as a kid. Then he broke down, and Hollywood allowed him to feel that, had that moment, get it all out. Later, Hollywood speaks to Prosper about him and Vi and the disagreement that he went through, his reminiscing basically about his love for his wife. Nova makes it home. She's from taking Courtney. She's reminiscing about her relationship with Calvin and the obstacles they have faced together, then the breakup, and then them getting back together. Ralph Angel watches Little Blue sleep, and then he's reminiscing about how life has been, the highs and the lows as a parent. He worried about the future. What will happen with his child? Will his child be able to be accepted in this world as a young black man? All that's going through his mind. And then the scene of all scenes that just made my heart stop. Charlie was at home sick as a dog, y'all. Her breathing was labored, and we saw her pick up the phone and call somebody and say she's sick and she needs help. Now, y'all tell me, it showed it, but I couldn't capture exactly. Tell me down in the penny who she called. I don't know who she called, but I sure want to know. So if y'all know, let me know down in that panic because I didn't catch that. But that brought us to the end of this episode of Queen Sugar. That's it. That's all. Again, I love the writing of this show. The actors are superb. The writing is superb. Tyler, take a look. Child, call me. I get you on, child. Call me. Anyway, that's it. That's all. In closing, as always, remember you do not have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. And it is the depth of your struggle that will determine the height of your success. If you do not give this a thumbs up on your way in, please do so on your way out. Put it in the panic. What I asked you, who was that she called? I don't know who she called. And where did Ralph Angel and Darla go for their honeymoon? Because I saw an ocean, but it looked like the window was so small. It looked like a cruise. Was they still doing cruises at that time last year? Y'all let me know below. Anyway, that's it. That's all. I'll see you guys again in the den on Fuck Shit Friday Live. We'll be talking shit and swallowing spit as only I can do. Have a great remainder to your Wednesday. I plan on doing the same, and I will see you next time. Peace.